Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. In today's video, we'll be talking about another beautiful Sedeveria called as Sedeveria PUDGY. Now this is a cross between Sedum clavatum and Echeveria derenbergii, so you tend to get the name as Sedeveria. Now guys, talking about this variety, it's a pretty easy to care succulent, so if you're a beginner, definitely add it in your collection. Now I know this pot tends to look slightly in a bad condition. To be honest, it was in a much bad condition earlier, but right now most of the succulents have plumped up because again I had not watered it for a really long time. So recently I had done a good amount of watering and now they have all plumped up, but still not in the best condition. Now talking about the light requirements, it prefers good amount of light either in the form of full morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours or indirect bright light. Only then you will be able to see the beautiful stress colors. Right now it does not have a lot of colors, doesn't look that great, and also you can see there was a lot of damage while transporting these succulents. You can see the pot has cracked, but a lot of the succulents are doing quite well. Thankfully none of them have got damaged. Now guys, talking about the dormancy, they tend to go dormant during the summers, which means very soon the succulent will get dormant. That is one of the reason the succulent does not have a lot of color, because it was recently in its growing period. So very soon during the summers it's gonna get a lot of color. Now as you can see over here, when I'm trying to zoom in, you can see there is a little bit of sunburn. Now I think this could be due to water falling on the leaves and then it was getting a good amount of direct sunlight, due to which I think this has happened due to water being left on the leaves. This is another reason for leaf burn. If there is water droplets on your succulent, then there can be a leaf burn. Now talking about the soil requirement, the soil remains the same that we use for our other succulents. It has to be loose, porous, well draining, and should dry out before you water next. Now definitely they do not like a lot of watering. Do not overwater them, because you can see the leaves are very plump. So do not water it too much. If you can underwater it slightly, it's absolutely fine, but do not underwater it excessively. Otherwise the leaves will start to drop. So ensure that you have a proper watering schedule. As you can see over here, because it was not watered for a really long time, you can see the leaves have this very visible wrinkles on them. This indicates that they are dehydrated. So if you are scared of overwatering them, wait for some time. You will tend to see wrinkles on the lower leaves. Then you can go ahead and do complete watering. Now guys, whenever you tend to see wrinkles on the lower leaves, please do not just wet the upper layer of soil. You have to do a complete watering. When you tend to see there are wrinkles on the lower leaves, it means that the succulent is starting to use up the water from the leaves. So do a complete watering, which means you have to water until the water starts passing through the drain hole. Now I'm pretty happy with this arrangement, because usually I tend to run around to search for things, but there is so much going on in this pot and I can show you everything in this pot. This is a perfect example. So over here, as you can see, we spoke about dehydration, we spoke about leaf burn. We will also talk about the propagation as well. It's pretty simple to propagate these succulents. There are of course 3 methods to propagate them. One is you can do a pup separation. As you can see over here, there are a lot of pups, but once they reach a decent size, you can go ahead and separate it. Now this was a stem cutting that I had done approximately 4 or 5 months back, but now you can see there has been a good amount of pups. So this is one of the way that you can do, that is by stem cutting. You will end up with a lot of pups on the stem. Let me give you another example. I'm not quite sure if it is going to be visible, because the phone at times does not focus on very tiny things. As you can see over here, the pups are really tiny. This was again a stem cutting that was done pretty much the same time 4 or 5 months back, and as you can see there are ample amount of pups on the stem. So this is the second method. First one being separating the pups from the mother plant. Second one that you can do is a stem cutting, and the last one what you can do is leaf propagation. Now these succulents also tend to get leaf propagated, so you can try this method. But again guys, just like other succulents, leaf propagation can take a lot of time. You can see this tiny one has just put out a root, but it's taking really long time for it to put out pup. But it definitely puts out a pup. It tends to grow faster, but it's been little slow. So the best method what you can do is separating the offsets from the mother plant, or you can do a stem cutting. With these two methods you can do your propagation much faster. Now this particular leaf, as you can see, it has turned yellow, so 95% this particular leaf will not propagate. Probably it will start to rot very soon. It's already yellow. Here is another healthy pup. You can see it's very plump. So always ensure if you're doing a leaf propagation, pull out a leaf that is very plump. It's going to be more successful. This guy probably might not, because it's already wrinkled, which means it does not have a lot of water in the leaf. But again, I usually wait. I let them dry out naturally. I give them a chance. At times you might get lucky and you might get a pup, but again, it depends upon the leaf. So these are all the methods that you can do. Now, as you can see, I'm not quite happy with this arrangement because everything looks haywire. It looks like a mess. So what I'm going to do is I will quickly do a stem cutting. I usually do not cut my succulents when they are dormant. Very soon this variety will go dormant in summers. Right now we have not entered in the summer period yet, so I can quickly go ahead and do a cutting. So I'll quickly cut off the ones that are slightly bigger. I will not touch the ones that are smaller. I'm just going to leave them in the pot as it is. I find this one as a bigger head, so I'm going to separate this one. And again, we follow the same process. What we tend to do, we are going to let the cuttings callus. If you want, you can air root them, or you can put them directly in the soil. If you ask my advice, I always prefer to do air rooting because that's much easier to see that the roots are present. So as you can see, the fresh cut, just go ahead and put it on the side. Now guys, talking about the pest attack, yes, these succulents do get affected with mealybugs, but it's not very common as compared to other succulents. It rarely gets affected with mealybugs. I had this plant for almost 2 years now. I haven't seen any mealybug attack, so it does quite well. So this is one of the toothpick that I had placed over here to give some support to the stem. In case if you have an issue wherein your stem starts to bend downwards, you can always use sticks to support your succulents. There's no harm in doing so, but over here probably it did not take the support. Now talking about the rest of the pups, as you can see, they are very small. Now this one I'm going to leave it as it is because it's slightly damaged by the suns, and even the pup was also damaged. I'm not quite sure, probably it was at the edge and it was facing towards direct afternoon sunlight. Probably that is one of the reason. These are some more of the pups. I'm going to leave them as it is. I'm not going to uproot them. Talking about afternoon sunlight, once again guys, the same rule applies. If you get direct afternoon sunlight, please do not expose this variety to afternoon direct sunlight. It will get burnt, as you've seen. So ensure that you either give it indirect bright light or morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours. So now I've completely done with the cuttings. I'm not going to water the soil right now. I'll wait for at least, as I've already spoken about the dormancy and non-dormancy, winter is their growing period, or was their growing period. Very soon they will be getting into their dormant period, which is the summer season. Ensure that you do not add fertilizers. Reduce your watering, or water only when your soil tends to be completely bone dry. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, bye bye.